all it takes is one conversation. It doesn't take a date, just a conversation.
One conversation, but I mean,
All
that's all it takes to find a partner.
One.
I mean,
Just one.
yeah. I mean, that was.
So he's pretty confident with one conversation.
But then why are you having multiple with Litia then? If all it takes is
Right,
one.
right. True. Welcome to A Fine Podcast with your hosts, Amanda and
Joseph. Yeah. Welcome back, everyone. We are here for another episode of The Bachelor.
The Bachelor with Grant.
Yes, the week before hometowns.
Yes, which I have to say, this season is going pretty fast.
We're one episode away from hometowns, so it's rolling on by.
Yeah, hometowns are next week. I really can't believe that. It's crazy. Before we go into our recap, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing swell.
Is that your answer every time I ask how you're doing?
Is that what I say every time?
Yep. How are you? The people want to know, how are you?
Doing fabuloso. How about that? Is that something new?
Explain.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, we're here. We're healthy. We're enjoying this month of February. We are living. We exist.
Wow. And those are all things to be grateful for.
Yeah, very much so.
Yes. Have you been enjoying watching Bachelor every week and watching Love is Blind when all the episodes drop?
Yes, it's been relaxing.
It's really been nice to do with you.
Wow, that's very nice of you.
Yes, because normally I'm by myself. And now I look over and it's like a dream come true. Like you're like hooked to the TV. I'm like, wow,
All right.
this is great. Yeah, he's just dying to get the details for the recap episode. And it's great.
Yeah. Yeah, before I was, you'd have a bath and I'd be doing whatever else I would be doing. So
Yeah, before he's like, oh, you got to watch The Bachelor?
yeah,
Got to watch Love is Blind?
Great. I got other
Great.
things to do now.
I can play video games or do something else while you watch your show in the bath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I'm watching it.
Which is so great. I'm so happy.
Man,
It's so nice to have this to talk to you about.
if I told myself I'd be watching this, this was me like 5 years in the future telling myself I'd be watching this, I would have laughed it off.
Never thought you would be doing this.
No. Well, watching this series, but here I am, and it's not bad. It's all right.
It's all right. That's your review. Your whole podcast is around this, but it's all right. It's all right. No, it's nice to get your perspective on things. A guy's perspective
Yeah.
and a woman's perspective together. It's great.
Yes.
So what has your favorite flavor of tea been this week?
Wow. This is like an interview.
Well, before we spill the tea, we have to talk about your favorite flavor of tea for the week.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the ginger peach is hard to skip on.
Ginger peach is great.
Yeah. What's yours been?
My favorite so far, a good go-to has been the green tea. Just plain decaf green tea, which is what I'm drinking now.
Yeah, that's hard to beat.
I like it. We're almost out of these now, but I've been enjoying trying the different flavors that we have.
Yeah, it's an adventure.
Yeah, especially these other flavors that are coming up. We have pumpkin spice decaf.
Yeah.
That's going to be weird.
Yeah, I need to wait about 7 months for that.
No, we have Christmas Day tea.
Yeah. Another 10 months before that one can be drinkable.
9 months.
Well, almost 9 months. Yeah.
We could drink it in 5 months.
Yeah. Christmas in July.
Yeah. We can drink it tomorrow and watch a Christmas movie.
Okay.
Well,
yeah.
thanks for talking about tea. So we're going to get to the tea of this episode here.
Wow. What a segue.
Yes. So this episode, we are in Scotland. Woo!
Yeah. Edinburgh.
Edinburgh, which you told me the correct pronunciation of
Yeah.
this.
You're like Edinburgh. Or I first said that. And then you're like, what? You're like,
First I was like,
Edinburgh.
Edinburgh?
Yeah.
Edinburgh.
Well, I have to say, like, what the heck happened here? Like, is this normal where they went to Madrid last episode, now they're in Edinburgh this episode? So they're just like traveling the world now while doing all this?
I think it's normal.
I mean, wow, that is crazy.
It's all fantasy and
But this is like what puts, I don't know, the whole show is just like, why so many of these relationships just don't work coming out of
Yes.
it is you're in this like dreamland for however many weeks this is, and then it's like
Precisely.
you go back to reality and then you face gravity.
Oh, there goes gravity. I was just thinking that in my head right before you said that.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people were. but like it's just the almost like culture shock to go back to normal life after this. It's just,
Yeah, back to our conversation from, was it last time we were saying that the dates are so extravagant that then you're going to come to the real world and go to Burger King and who knows if you're going to be happy with that person after.
yeah. Yeah, I think I probably, because this just like irks me every time, I guess. But
Yeah.
but it's just like, I don't, it's just,
It gets
I mean,
more and more
crazy.
grand,
Of
especially
course, like,
as we talk about the dates that they went on. Insane.
Yeah.
Insane. You can't
Yeah.
match it in day-to-day life.
yeah. I mean, there's like few people it'd be hard to not have a good time with. Just be like, oh yeah, I'm totally
Yeah, you could probably
falling
have
in love with this person.
a great
like,
time with your worst enemy there.
Like, we're getting to see all new cool, fun things and all these new experiences. I mean, it's hard to beat, but I mean, yeah.
Yeah, going to all these.
Or even if it's like,
Cool
I mean,
places.
heck, if I didn't make it, it'd almost be like the dream, I guess, to at least make it to, I guess, like this week, I guess, right? Like the week right before hometown. So that I could at least say, hey, I went to Madrid, I went to Edinburgh, like all expenses paid.
That's why you'd want to make it.
Trip to well, no, I'm saying, I mean, obviously, right, you're there for it, but I mean, hey, a great side burner if this doesn't work out is, hey, at least I got to travel the world on
Yeah, I'm
somebody
sure
else's dime.
that's a nice thing for some people.
But yeah, no, I mean, obviously, I mean, you're there for, but I mean, it's a great, if you get eliminated, then it's like, hey, at least, I got this cool stuff out of it. So
Yeah, that's true.
I get to leave with at least away with something.
You're just jealous because they went to whiskey paradise.
Well, yeah, no. I mean, I would love to. I would love to check out some of the distilleries in Scotland, but
Yeah, it would be fun. But yeah, no. Beautiful place, and they keep going to all these beautiful places, and it would be nice to go on some trips like that. And then if the production wanted to pay for that, great. So
yeah,
we see Grant, and he's playing golf with Jesse and talking to him. So like at the start of each different country they're visiting, it's always Grant and Jesse together.
yeah. They were playing basketball in Spain. Now they're playing golf in Scotland. That's the way they start their new adventure for the episode.
So Jesse meets the ladies, and he says that there's 2 one-on-one dates this week and 1 group date.
Yeah, shocker.
Shocker.
It's the same thing as last week.
What did we
The
say
week
about
before
Jesse?
that.
Too. Jesse's role is to state the obvious every time. Like, hey, 3 dates this week, and then, hey, ladies, there's only 1 rose left here.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah,
are
I
his
don't know.
big things.
The host, I don't know. It's like in a lot of these reality shows, the hosts just have such minimalistic like presences.
But yet
I
at the
don't
same
know.
time, he's iconic.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I guess it's fun to have Jesse say, "Ladies, there's only one more rose left for tonight."
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure he definitely enjoys it, but
Could you imagine if they had like a computer saying that instead? They just click a button.
well, soon enough they'll have a
AI.
AI robot doing it.
That's true.
But no, I mean it is nice. I'm sure I mean outside of even just the clip of to see at least like, Grant and Jesse having some time together and getting to do stuff. I mean, that's nice. That's nice for them to be able to do whatever and
Yeah, to relate and talk to each other.
yeah.
Jesse makes a good sounding board.
I mean, he's probably right because Grant can't talk to. I mean,
The women about
especially
the
how many
other
guys
women.
is he getting to, or even just people to talk to about this stuff? So it almost probably is at least nice for him to have somebody to.
And also, Jesse's been through this process, so he can relate.
Yeah.
What did you say when we were watching it? Well, especially as the groups get smaller and smaller, when with his part saying, "Hey, it's the final rose," you were like, "Well, isn't it obvious it's the final rose? There's only
well,
like a couple people in this room." And
Yeah, it's just I don't know. It's just every time because he comes out to it. But there was like one episode where he actually didn't announce the final rose. I think it was it last week's or the week before?
is that to throw everybody off?
But he actually didn't. Yeah, I guess I don't know. Is the big reveal? Is he gonna say it or not? But I mean, there's just not. I mean,
to keep things
obviously
interesting,
they can
he didn't.
see there's one last rose, and is there? I don't know. It must go back to something maybe from like the first season or some season. It became tradition for him to just say that, so
Right.
they're keeping it. I'm sure it's probably more along the lines of
Well,
that.
now it's like a psychological thing. Like you need Jesse to say it for it to be like official.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Juliana gets the first one-on-one, and there's a helicopter ride. There's a royal valet for the day that greets them at the castle that they're both going to be in soon.
Yeah, I mean they basically get to like have a castle for the day.
And a royal valet.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess I meant like that included having a whole staff of butlers to be able to tend to your needs as you roam about this castle and play dress up and
Yes, basically they play dress up, and Grant wears a kilt, and Juliana wears a big fancy dress, and also Grant wore a purse too.
yes. Well, it's
But they try on a few outfits, like, and then he ends up in a suit.
yeah. This seems to be like a recurring event thing now, right? Because I mean, Pascal is like very similar to Pascal's date with Joan when they did the big. Well, I guess Joan did it more so than he did, but trying on outfits and doing this.
Oh yeah,
There seems to be a lot more. I don't. I just noticed a lot of dates have this big trying on a bunch of different things for fun. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of like the Scottish culture with outfits and not just willy nilly stuff. But
Yeah, so that was interesting to see that. And then the orchestra people are back.
yeah, you pointed this out. It looks like the same 4 people from Madrid potentially that were playing.
It's like 4 or 5 people, and they're all on different orchestra instruments, and they must travel with them. Yeah.
But yes, they seem to be traveling around now. Like they're the they're the Bachelor band or the Bachelor
The Bachelor
the Bachelor
band.
quintet.
It's want to look really good on a one-on-one date.
Yeah,
Let's have our orchestra people play music for you.
yeah.
So they dance around in the clothes that they picked out, and
Well, they went to all these. They did all these Scottish outfits, and then they switched to
regular
a traditional,
outfits. Yeah.
Tails and ball gown dress. They tried all the Scottish outfits, and then they went right back to an American outfit.
They're like, that was fun. Now let me go back to an American outfit.
Yeah.
An American outfit, like a dress and a suit. I don't know if that's an American outfit.
America invented that.
Or I think that's universal, but yeah.
That was America.
Yeah, Grant wore like an American flag. What'd you think about the coordinated dancing going on?
Well, I think this was the whole theme of this thing was get to feel like a fairy tale prince life for the day. And what do you think of when you first think of that? You think of waltzes, you think of big ballrooms, you think of coordinated, an old 1600s ballroom with formalized dancing. That's a particular routine that you would do. So that's what they are playing out here. But they didn't partake in that. It was more of just like the background dancers
They danced,
that
they had.
But theirs was more just like improvising or whatever.
They walked up the red carpet.
Yeah, there was
in between all the dancers. So I think there was some sort of practicing for them to be able to.
Well, it's like all those Disney movies. All the prince like Cinderella or any of the others. She arrives and then they make a big line for her to walk down and
right
run into the prince, and so it's just very much that fairy tale dream world. Which once again, this whole fairy tale process thing,
like something that will never happen.
Legitly was like
them.
the absolute essence of a fairy tale. They put all into this, but yeah,
it goes from that to Grant going through a Burger King drive-through with Juliana if they end up together. How can you take it from a fancy fairy tale castle princess theme to eating a burger and fries, and that's your big date night?
I'm sure there's.
I love going back to that
something
example.
A little bit nicer than just that, but obviously, right? It's no different than if we took a vacation out there, right? And
Right.
sure, they're probably doing stuff a little bit more elaborate, but still, at the end of the day,
Like
we
I
come
would be
back
excited for Burger King, yeah.
and do all
But-
normal stuff. But I think it's like starting out, you're dating with like that extravagant level just seems, and then having to, where it's like here, we've already known what the daily life looks like, then we go explore. But I don't know,
Right.
obviously,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe
But
I'm
you have to
talking,
love
talking
the
too much about that.
person and not just the activity. But I think it is hard to start off a relationship with such grand activities that you don't really know if you love the person, or it could be confusing maybe.
Yeah, right. But no, nonetheless, this is very elaborate. It's grand. It's a great experience, and they have a great time together. And
So at the dinner date, Juliana opens up to Grant about her life growing up, and she had a very close family member who suffered from addiction, and she often felt alone in her house. And this really resonates with Grant because often he felt alone in his house while his father also suffered from addiction. And sometimes he would eat dinner in his room, which was really sad to hear. That sounds awful. You just take your food up to your room, close the door, and then eat by yourself as a kid.
yeah, that's pretty awful for a child for that experience. So yeah, that's got to be, it's terrible.
Very sad to hear that. And then Grant also shows Juliana his lone wolf tattoo.
Well, there's been a couple girls that he's shown it to, but yes, now he's shown it to Juliana, and I think this whole thing really elevated their whole connection, so a whole new level, I think.
They both got really emotional with each other.
Yeah, but just that it's something that they can connect on. They both went through similar things of that. I think that was just a big a big connection point for them. And yeah, I think that just really strengthened their their bond. And because I think being able to relate about that, and he kind of mentioned that in one of the talking heads, that now that they've both been through that, they can talk to each other about that, those can understand that. It Yeah, I mean, it was just ultimately a very strong thing for them to bond on.
Definitely. So Juliana tells Grant, my friends really helped me get through a lot of things in my life, and I would love for you to meet them at hometowns. And Grant says he feels very strongly about her. He would like to meet them too. He sees a future with her. And then in his interview, he says he could see her as his wife, which I feel like he's saying that a lot about a lot of people in his interview. But
Yeah, I think there has been a couple people he has kind of openly, well, and the talking heads talked about that, but I do think this one was genuine with it.
he seems to be really connected to her emotionally. It's very strong, and then it got even stronger after this date for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I just think having the same thing to relate about, and two, I think he was probably looking for this with her in this date, was that he knew that they could get along well, they hang out, they have fun, and he's probably looking for, a lot of these, and I think that's really what these one-on-ones are for, is really, well, what's the next level, what's deeper, tell me something deep about you, let's really get into things. And she did that with this, and then I think it was to kind of show more of really her background and what makes her tick, and kind of really too how she talked about kind of this mask she puts up of being happy to try to hide back the negativity with some of the things that she went through. And then she brings up too, at the end of it, that she mentioned that, hey, I'm even feel like I'm starting to fall for you, and giving Grant that, letting him know that, hey, this is getting like serious for me at this point. It's not really just a fling, or better term, just a shallow connection. Now this is getting pretty serious for me. And I think that was a big thing to let Grant know that's how she's feeling. And I think that helped him realize too that this is more.
Yeah, so it was good that she opened up to him, and good that she feels very strongly for him, and I think that solidified her to him. This date was good for Juliana, and the date ended with fireworks outside of the castle like a Disney movie.
This almost felt like, to me, like Joan's moment with Chalk. Like this whole date like felt like 2.0 of Joan and Chalk's date
At Disneyland.
Yeah, because I mean, during the day was very different, but
They had fireworks.
but they had the dinner.
They watched the
John
fireworks.
Joan and
John.
Chalk. They had this dinner, and they talked about the cancer thing, that they've both been through and experienced, and then they had the fireworks and the everything afterward. Like, I don't know, this felt like that, and
Magical fairy
then
tale.
it really almost felt like here, like this is where Grant just like picks Juliana. Like, I almost felt like this was like his moment that he just like knew.
So what's the magic spell? Is it fireworks? Is it
Maybe
Disney
not, but
themed
it
thing?
just it would be completely coincidental, I think. But it was just, I don't know, that kind of flashed into my head during this whole experience.
Right, because in the Golden Bachelorette, on that date with Chalk and Joan, you can kind of see, okay, they would be really great together.
Right, the way they connected over that was what reminded me, or what I was reminded of with Garrett and Juliana's conversation.
Garrett.
Or Grant. Sorry.
Love is Blind name now bleeding into this. It's funny.
Is that his name in Love is Blind?
Oh, Garrett and Taylor in the season 7.
Well, actually, no. I got Garrett from a video game I'm playing. But...
Oh, what video game? Tell us, fine folks.
Yeah,
what video game?
It's one me and my dad used to play. It's very nostalgic.
What is it?
Thief 2.
Thief 2.
Yeah.
Not 1,
No.
but 2.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, it's just the game that I remember as a child that I used to watch Dad play all the time, and I loved watching him play it. And every time he'd play it, I'd pull up a chair and watch him play it. And
What is it?
it's just a game that you're a thief, but the architecture is very Art Deco and
Okay, what do you mean you're a thief?
Gothic.
Like you put on a mask and go to a bank?
yeah, there is one episode or one level that you
What?
do go to a bank.
We have to look this up.
It's from like 2000, so the graphics are like pretty crude.
That's my kind of game. I love it.
Yeah.
I'll have to look that up after this.
Yeah.
Do you think they have it on YouTube?
Yeah, of course. I can go show you it up on my PC.
Wow. Now it's time for a group date. And on the group date, we have Serafina, Dina, Alex, Carolina, and Zoe. Which this was a huge shocker because everybody was expecting Joey to get... Joey. Now I'm watching too much Bachelor of different seasons. Everybody was expecting Zoe to get the one-on-one date. And she didn't. And she never got a one-on-one date. And the one-on-one date goes to Litia.
Yeah, this was actually pretty shocking and very... I don't know, very weird. I mean,
I don't know how she wasn't more upset at first. I mean, she did look devastated.
I really don't understand why I would think I would give every girl at least a chance for a one-on-one.
To be fair.
To go up, yes.
Or did he just feel that strongly about their connection that he didn't need to have a one-on-one?
I mean, that could very well be it, too. Maybe he just is already so confident in her that he doesn't want or doesn't need to. But
something else I thought about.
But still, how would you feel that way if you've never even had a one-on-one with them like that?
Well, maybe in the earlier episodes where she stole him away from like the group basketball date, maybe some of that counted as like one-on-one time with him.
Yeah, I did think about that when she kind of complained about that, how she took him aside there. And maybe that was some of it, but...
So there were like little blips of her getting to spend some time with him, but still she didn't have an official one-on-one date. And I thought this was crazy for her not to get it. And then Litia gets more time with him.
Well, and plus this was like, I mean, that was all episode 1 or 2, I guess, but... and how far much further along are we? So it's been a while even then since he's had those checkups with her. But I think with this not having the one-on-one with her, I think kind of, and him choosing, Litia to have the one-on-one with, I think goes back to like what I was saying at the end of, or what I was saying, last episode, where I think it's down to 3. I think he's got 3 that he's like for the 4th, because he needs a 4th person for hometowns, but he's only got 3 in his mind, and the 4th wasn't just he doesn't need that, so he'd rather spend more time with the 3 that he wants to make a connection
Maybe
with.
that's it, yeah.
And
I guess we'll see for sure next week.
Yeah.
So it's time for the group date, and we see Scottish dancers on this group date, and the ladies and Grant are all dressed up in Scottish attire. Grant puts back on his kilt, and the ladies are wearing plaid and fancy skirts, and they do different activities here. So they throw trees to see how far they can throw them. This may be the part where you were putting Asher to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even know how you describe this because it wasn't tree stumps. It was like,
Branches.
no, it was like a stem, like a long stem without the branches.
A trunk.
Yes. Yes. I was thinking in my head, like, what is the term for this? So
Let's go over the anatomy of a tree.
yes, it's like no leaves. Okay, anyway. So
we have a stump, we have a trunk, we have
it wasn't
branches,
a
we
stump,
have
but I wanted
leaves.
to say stump so bad. And I'm like, no, this is longer. But Grant throws it first and he throws it pretty far. And then they all take turns throwing. And then they play musical chairs and they hear fortunes. So they're just like throwing in all these random activities for them to do.
It's like a hodgepodge of events.
Yeah, it's like a birthday party hodgepodge thing. So I guess those are fun activities to watch everybody do. But Carolina makes her opinions really known here by kind of just sitting to the side and not participating much in the chatter between the women and Grant. And then Grant sees her off to the side and he thinks, I have to address her to make sure she's okay, to see what's going on. And so then they have this conversation together where it pretty much looked like in this conversation, Carolina could have been convinced to go home at that time, but Grant kind of convinced her to stay, which was confusing considering what happens in the end.
So I think, well, seeing how she was upset and he was hanging out with all the other girls, and then he said, excuse me, girls, I'm going to go check on Carolina, and then he gives her this one-on-one time to check with her. I originally thought, oh man, this relationship to me is like almost becoming toxic or something. Like it's just not like this is how she's
It's negative
creating
attention.
time, to create attention. I just feel like it, and then him, I would have almost just, I don't know. I mean, he obviously, I guess it was the nice thing to go check on her, but something faster, I guess, or I don't know, because to leave the other girls basically, there and then just stuck twiddling their thumbs while he's having this one-on-one constantly. Now this is the second time he's done that.
It's
with,
a
with
theme
her.
and everybody's getting upset.
It just seems, yeah. I mean, I'd almost think he'd, not do it this time because you already did it last time. I mean, why do you keep entertaining this?
Yes, and then basically what she says to him is it's been really hard, and she sees that he has stronger connections with the other women here and it's hard for her to witness it. And then Grant's response to this is, well, we used to have a strong connection.
This is where he actually caught him. I'm surprised this like kind of went through. Well, I guess, but
I thought that's not really convincing.
he was gonna say, I think he was going to say we had, or
He did say it.
what was it? Yeah, crap. I should have. There was one part where he actually was going to say past tense of one of the words. I forget, like was or something, but he caught himself and then he said, no, we do have something to make it present tense about the connection. Because
he definitely say we had or we used to have a stronger connection, but then I think he like tried to build on that or something too. But
yeah, because he did catch himself at one point about to say like past tense of it and then had to flip it to say. But then this is where I don't know. I mean,
it looked like she was almost ready to bow out at this point. And if he would have just said, yeah, this isn't really working out.
Well, and I don't know if either, like with Dina's discussion in the future or any other future considerations is what ultimately made him not picking her.
Maybe.
But if he knew at this point that she was not going to make it, then, I mean, I almost just, why not just
make it easier?
let her there or something? Because this whole, you know, especially with all the girls, it gets weird, right? Because he's talking to all these girls, and then they're all, scared about, oh, I may be going home, or, I'm putting all this effort, and if I get sent home, then what was the point of this? And he has to basically say to all of them, like, hey, just keep it, hope, I don't know, play your best, hope you make it, but stay, like, don't bow out yet, like. And then at the end of the episode, it's like, all right, bye, see you later. And then,
And was he being, I mean, I think he's genuine. Maybe it really is the conversation he had with Dina. I don't know, but
yeah, but then it was,
I think it could have been much easier if he would have just said, hey, like, let's let you gracefully leave now instead of.
yeah, but it's
dragging
like
this.
every single one-on-one. It's just like, no, I have a connection with you. I'm still figuring things out or whatever. Like, it's just that with everyone. And it's
Right.
like, come on. I mean, you're about to whack 3 people tonight. Like, you can't say this to everyone.
Yeah, so.
I don't know, especially because, like, I don't know. And maybe he didn't have his mind made up at this point. I'm sure probably not. But if he did and he said all that, then I think that was lame. But yeah, I don't know.
Maybe he was confused and still trying to think through things, but they turn that moment around. She's sobbing and it's really upsetting for her to be there. And then he says, well, we used to have a strong connection, but I'm thankful you're here. And she says, yes, I'm thankful to be here.
Well, that's what 2 almost made me think. 2, I guess, why is he even having this conversation of like, just stay, it's because of that whole slip up of that past tense there. Like, it seemed like he was already almost like checked out with her.
Yeah, I think so. Or like thinking about ending
At least
things.
like he was, I think, at least already leaning
right.
towards that by this point. So, I mean, I yeah, I don't know, because I think how Joan like did with Mark, like I think that was like great how she just did that with him. I think it was just easy. It was less embarrassing. You went ahead and just laid down the hammer, ripped the Band-Aid off.
And you're not wasting anyone's time any further, which is nice. And you don't have to.
I mean, I think this one was a little bit harder since she's like stuck in Scotland. But
but you don't have to drag.
But
drag the thing you have to tell them out.
Yeah, the anticipation of it.
The rose ceremony and in front of the other women at that point. And so, yeah, exactly. But so in Carolina's interview after, she says, well, I thought he was going to, send me home after that conversation and I'm still here. So woohoo. And then the rest of the women are really upset because that was basically their whole date then for the afternoon.
Well, it started to rain,
it started to rain right after that, yeah.
So then they
called it off.
Well, I don't know, I guess they really had nothing else. I mean, they couldn't have improvised with something indoors for however much time
they didn't have that place rented out.
Yeah, that whole castle that they just had the courtyard and the out, but not the actual inside.
Yeah, maybe. So all the women are upset that Carolina ate up a lot of the time. And Dina comes in here and she says, I supported Carolina last week, I guess because I missed what she has been acting like, but now it all makes sense.
Well, she brought up a good point that I thought, because I mean, I remember last week I was thinking about, wow, she really supported her through this. But I guess, yeah, she had the date, so she really didn't see how she was kind of acting. But I guess I figured someone would have told her. But I don't know, maybe she just wanted to, not take it from, or see it for herself before.
I think that's what it was,
a decision about it.
But Zoe tells Grant that, she really hoped for the one-on-one date this week, so she addresses it to him for the first time. And Grant says, we started out strong, and he does feel bad that they don't have more one-on-one time, but all it takes is one conversation. It doesn't take a date, just a conversation. And Zoe says, oh, that's a pretty good excuse. And she starts like laughing about that.
Yeah, well, this was just weird because, I mean, it's just, one conversation, but I mean,
All
that's all it takes to find a partner.
One.
I mean,
Just one.
yeah. I mean, that was
So he's pretty confident with one conversation.
yeah. But then why are you having multiple with Litia then if all it takes is one?
Right. True.
I mean, I don't know. This was just almost just felt too of like this. Just stay, give it a chance. Like,
And
wait
she
until
says-
I call you, or wait until
yeah.
the rose. Which I mean, yeah, she actually made it. But I mean,
Which was shocking, but she goes, okay, yes, and I feel confident with you meeting my family, despite no one-on-one. But so she feels better after talking to him.
yeah,
To me, it almost sounds like a slap in the face. Like, wow, like I'm not special enough to even get a singular date with this man.
yeah. I don't think, and I mean, I get it from her. She kind of mentioned, am I just wasting my time here? Which I would totally think by that point, if I didn't even get a chance for the one-on-one, what am I doing here? I mean, at this point, I mean, I don't know. That's why it almost seems to me, it really is just like down to 3 at this point. Cause I don't know, unless he just feels I
It just
really
takes
don't
one
know how
conversation.
yeah, apparently for him, I guess.
Just
I
one.
don't know. I mean, but it was, yeah. I mean, she
Interesting.
seemed like she was going to stay pretty, but then she did start kind of lightening up and playing it off as a joke, but she did seem afterward, at least in talking head, like genuinely felt a little bit better about things, which I was kind of shocked about. I felt like that would have been a hard game to keep her not being in her head about
How did he
things.
smooth it over so well?
Yeah,
He managed to do it.
that was good damage control.
Then we see more drama with Carolina. So the girls are all sitting on the couch and she says, they're purposely excluding me and talking about me. And then Dina gets really upset with her. And then Dina says, you talk or we talk to you and then you're upset, or we don't talk to you and then you're upset. It just doesn't make sense. And Carolina says, oh, yeah, well, you have some pretty bad arguments for a lawyer, to Dina, which I thought was funny.
Yeah, I guess she was trying to tie in her occupation, but
her occupation. Carolina tells Grant that night that she would be proud to have him meet her family. And then we go back to Dina here. So she says, because it's her time to meet with Grant. And she says, I want to tell Grant about Carolina because I'm just now seeing what the other women are talking about for myself. And I feel played by Carolina. So she basically tells Grant, there's people here that are just thinking for themselves. And Grant says, I clock it.
this is where I kind of wonder, did her bringing it up really kind of help confirm things in Grant's mind, or make him kind of figure out the decisions he wanted to make? Because I think it was, he mentioned the talking head, that it was kind of alarming, or now that I've had a second woman bring up her behavior.
He says, Dina's smart and I really value her opinion, and she's bringing this up to me. So maybe I should listen to her.
I do think she brought up kind of a valid point, and this is where I kind of think, she wanted to see things for herself before just latching on to one of the other girls if they, mentioned it to her about Carolina. Was, she brought up that, hey, I was backing her last week with things, but now that I've kind of seen it this week, my eyes are more open to her behavior now and whatnot. So maybe that to kind of help persuade Grant, showing how she was trying to, be indecisive about it until she at least saw it for herself, and then, decided to think what she thought. So
Right. Yeah. Initially, I thought like she is ruining this one-on-one time she has with Grant because Grant was talking about different things and then she was just dying to blurt out the stuff about Carolina.
yeah, I mean, I do think this kind of came out of as I'm bringing this up purely to doing it more so in your or out of care for you that you don't, you know, pick someone for the wrong reasons or it was more out of just I care about you and I'm trying
Right.
to help you just be a sounding board on this situation. So
Which he really, really takes this to heart.
yeah.
So interesting.
And I mean, I don't think she was really trashing her. I mean, it was more just
Watch out for this behavior.
yeah, this just isn't good. It's happening multiple times at this point, and it seems like it could be a continuous thing going
Yes.
forward with if you continue things. So
Yes. So let's talk about Litia's one-on-one date with Grant. First, she teaches Grant what dreek means. Do you
yes,
remember what
Scottish word for bleak and rainy
dreary,
or dreary? Yeah,
which is what the weather was outside.
I do think this was a great date to have if you're gonna be in this setting. Like it was just a normal kind of like a normal day that they would have. I mean, yeah, you're in Scotland, but it was like
Okay, that's not so normal. There's some abnormal things that happen here. But yeah, you're in Scotland.
well, yeah, there are some right, but at least I think the date of just going around a town and just well, I'm sure it was all planned out, but looking almost like improvised of just stopping by a place to eat and some people on the street and
Okay, let's talk about it. So they tried some Scottish foods. They did some whiskey tasting, and then they passed by people playing bagpipes, and then Grant gets the opportunity to play the bagpipe, and he plays it very badly.
yeah, he's trying to blow. I think his technique was probably right, but
That was
I'm not a bagpipe player, so I don't know. But
that's a funny part. Then they listened to a street poet, and then Grant goes up and does a little poem.
yeah, this was I don't know. Is this another improv?
Like, did he practice this
session?
before as an
Yeah.
improv? And then there's a woman on the street.
This was weird. So it was like were they fortune tellers or like mediums? I don't know.
There were women on the street that asked Grant maybe questions about him and Litia, and Grant tells the street woman that he can really see her as his wife.
This was shocking because he's always said it in all the talking heads, but this was the first time he said it with one of them around.
Maybe
And
he
they
slipped
actually-
up. He's like, "Oh, I'm not in an interview."
Maybe. I don't know because they did zoom in on her face and her face just like blew up like
Like she was really happy to hear that.
yeah. Her face blew up like a thermometer on a hot day. I mean, it ran up, but yeah, I mean, I think that like really caught her off guard. But I think that almost was. I think this could have almost been like a little bit of a slip up. He seemed to be having like some slip ups with
Maybe he
his
like
talks with the thing about
used
Carolina and
too
now
much air
this.
when he was playing the bagpipes, so then he was lightheaded when he was making this comment.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I mean, that was like I was very shocked that he would mention that in front of them like that. So, or at least of any of the girls. But yeah, I mean, but I do think, I mean, she's obviously, one of the ones way up there. So
Yes.
as far as who he would pick in the finale, so
Yes. So she responds and says, "I like you," and other stuff. For
right, yeah,
may love
trying to
him.
hint to towards the love.
yes. So then it's dinner time, and they have dinner at a big, long table.
Yeah, it's like an old formal dining hall of what they would have in a castle. And they start out by being at the ends, but
Trying to talk to each other.
yeah, it's too far, so they get closer together. I wonder if he had actually stayed there, which you've been like, man, this date stinks for having him to
It'd be
have to like shout at each other the whole time.
like not being together at all.
Yeah.
But remember, his food was in front of him at the other end, and then 2 drinks.
Yeah.
And then he's like, let me move closer to you. And then magically, like, his food and his 2 drinks and himself got there.
Yeah.
So they talk about faith, and Litia says she's of strong Mormon faith, which is something that we haven't heard much about before. And she says she has always dated inside her faith, and it hasn't worked out. So this is why she's branching out. And she says that faith is really important to her. She wants to carry this into her kids' lives. And then she says, so what do you think about religion? And puts Grant on the spot.
It looks like this might have thrown Grant off a little bit, or like was kind of like not necessarily like a huge bomb, but
He was like, oh, I'm cool.
definitely
I'm cool with it.
I think it kind of put a pause on the momentum of how things were going. I mean, he mentions, that yeah, he's not Mormon, but he believes in God and is is religious to some extent.
Yeah, so I think it's something he needs to just learn more about. He says he's not too familiar with the Mormon faith, but they at least have believing in God in common, and he says that's important for his children as well, so they bond over that aspect of it.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think this is something next time we will see more about, because when he meets her family, I think this subject comes up a bit more.
Well, yeah, in the previews, they really are hinting at that as being like a contention point with things moving forward.
But so far, right now, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
So Grant talks to Litia about him eating dinner alone in his room. So with his kids, he wants to cook and have everyone eating together at the table, and they both get really emotional here.
This was definitely probably the most emotional he's gotten out of any of the conversations that he's had with any of them.
Which was really touching to see him opening up so much and showing his emotion.
Yeah, I mean, it was... So, I mean, they're definitely, bonding on a deeper level with all of this. So I do think, I mean, I think he's... Well, first when, she brought up the whole religious part of it, that kind of put a little bit of pause, but then this kind of thing almost reignited things and kept rolling along to be able to have a conversation this deep with everything. But
so the date ends with a live singer and dancing, and then Litia says that she loves him in a private interview, but not to him.
Well, they, she's like, oh, I'm falling for him, and then the producers kind of egg it on, right?
Yeah,
because she's like, oh, do you love him? And she's
like, yes, I love him.
Yeah.
So they had a pretty good date.
Yeah, I mean, theirs went very well.
So let's talk about the rose ceremony. At the ceremony, Carolina asks Dina to go upstairs with her. And I thought this was really nice of Carolina to address Dina. And, she says, I'm grateful for you. I'm upset with the way things went down between us. She just wants the best for her going forward. And then Dina cries and forgives her, and they have a nice moment and hug each other here. So I thought this was really nice that the two of them patched things up, because they seem to be friends before this too.
No, I thought this was very nice. I mean, I thought this was great to see. I mean, especially because, I mean, if they did have a friendship, I mean, it'd be, terrible to see things fall apart the way they did just because of all the drama with Grant. So I mean,
Do you think Dina then felt bad that she rushed up to Grant and threw Carolina under the bus? Maybe it's not really throwing her under the bus, but she did talk about her
I don't think
to
so. Because
Grant.
I mean, I don't know. At the end of the day, I mean, I think that was something that he had to consider when picking Carolina.
But do you think she should have told Carolina this?
No, I don't think that.
So they're still solid friends, even though Carolina has no idea Dina.
I mean,
did
I
that?
don't think it was that necessarily. I don't. I mean, obviously, she'll watch. If she watches this, she'll see Dina, discuss that. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know. At the end of the day, that was Carolina's behavior. I mean,
Yeah,
Dina
but
was just shedding some light on it.
while
Yes.
Carolina was making amends, Dina could have said, thanks so much for coming to me with this, and I just want to be open and honest with you. I did, talk about this a little bit in my conversation with Grant. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because,
She
well,
could have. Yeah.
I guess maybe they were on bad terms before anyway. But yeah, I just thought this was a really nice moment for the two of them to have together.
I just thought it kind of felt mature on Carolina's part to bring it up, because especially if they did kind of a friendship before this, and then that kind of put a little stake in things. I mean, I think it was probably nice for her to have this resolution to everything and patch things up.
Yeah, so that was really nice. And then it's time for roses. And then Litia gets the first rose, followed by Juliana, then Dina, and then Zoe, which I was stunned that Carolina wasn't in the top 4, I guess, since we've been predicting she could be for a while.
Well, this was so... Leading up to this, I was hoping... Well, I didn't think Grant was going to see past it. I think he was going to be kind of too caught up with Carolina and kind of blinded by things. And I figured, or was thinking, that he was just going to continue on kind of blindly going into it. I didn't think he was actually going to take a step back and really look at things and see how things were evolving. But it seems like he did, because I was very impressed that he did not choose her. I was expecting him to probably choose her. So I think he made a great choice. I think it was very mature to take a step back and look at it and kind of really evaluate it for what it was just turning into, I think.
This wasn't for me.
So, yeah, no, I think it was great for the better, because I really didn't think, I felt like their relationship was just turning sour with how it was evolving. So,
yes.
So, no, I mean, I think
I'm just shocked that he actually did that.
I am too, because I didn't think he was going to, especially just seeing how much he was constantly taking her to his side and spending all this one time.
I thought that meant he cared about her. So, I mean, maybe he still
Well, I
did,
thought it was, he did, but it was just not great that he was doing that. Unless he just really thought, she's the one and I don't care about any of those women, maybe, But obviously he wasn't feeling like that,
So yeah, no rose for Carolina, Alex, or Serafina. And Alex has just been floating in the background, not really getting a lot of airtime.
I mean, she kind of fell by but this is why too, I think. Well,
it's bad to get that first date.
Yeah, unless
you develop a real big connection.
Yeah, but I think it is right. I mean, you really almost, that first one, it's almost more pressure, because you really have to make a connection that's going to be, making him remember it and thinking about it consistently, because he's going to be going on all these other ones. And if it just gets blended in with all these other ones, then it's just going to, and you're not staying dominant somehow or keeping the connection up during the group dates, then.
She started out so strong, and then it just.
Well, I think they fizzled. I don't think was very aggressive during like group days or trying to actively.
Yeah.
And I think he just got enveloped with all the other dates and everything that it just kind of fizzled out.
And then Serafina, I did not sense a romantic connection.
Yeah, I mean the Madrid date went well, but I don't think it really stood out in comparison to some of the other dates. I
Yeah.
always thought, and then I mean I was pretty shocked that Zoe got picked, or Zoe. I mean, I at least knew it was going to be Dina, Juliana, and Litia.
Mm-hmm.
The fourth was the wild card, because I wasn't, I was thinking, he probably may pick Carolina, but maybe he won't. But I'm leaning towards him doing it. But then he picked Zoe, but I was kind of shocked it was Zoe, but just because, especially not picking her for anyone on one date. But
Maybe that was to throw us all off.
yeah,
But
or I just think, I don't know. This is where I especially because she got picked, it almost really makes me just think he really has no other, like, it's between Dina, Juliana, and Litia. Like, he had to pick a fourth, and that's who we picked. But I think it's really more so between them. And I would say even then, out of the top two, it's still Juliana and Litia. I think Juliana is still one and Litia's two, but
and who's three?
Dina.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I mean, it could go either way. It could be Litia or Juliana at the top, but I would say Juliana, Litia, and Dina.
Yeah. Yeah, my guess would be
And
is
Zoe.
Zoe gets the boot next during hometowns.
Unless something weird happens with Dina. So let's talk about the preview too.
Yeah, there was some stuff between Litia and Juliana that they really kind of showed that could be drama.
There was a line where a man said, "Did you just kiss my daughter?"
Yeah, that was Juliana.
And he said, "I'm an Italian guy."
Yeah, that was Juliana.
That was Juliana's father.
Yeah, she's the Italian from the Italian family.
Okay.
And then Litia, they show a lot of Grant saying, I've got tattoos, and I have earrings, I do drinking, stuff that looks like he could be clashing with like the Mormon ideas. So there looks like there could be some drama between those two families.
Where's Dina's drama?
They didn't show much of like Dina or Zoe's.
Maybe they both
issues.
leave early.
Or not issues, but problems. But or not problems, but just drama in general. So I don't know. I think they're, I don't know, a lot of the preview. I mean, we went back and rewatched the first preview again, which actually rewatching that, we did see where Zoe actually says, "I love you" to Grant.
During hometowns, yep.
Well, it will be during hometowns, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously that preview gave away that she makes it to hometowns. So that would have been.
And to the top 4. So good thing we didn't watch that before this episode.
Well, no, I should have watched that so I could have expected that. So
yes,
I should have known.
true.
That was I totally missed that. I saw the where they're on the boat jumping in the water. It's now just confirmed that that's Juliana.
Yes.
Who's doing that. So I know Juliana makes it in the final, and that's why. Well, and that gives away the hometown issue for her, especially.
Yep.
It's not a deal breaker.
Yep.
But so I knew she was making it in the final, but I could have at least seen that Zoe makes it to hometowns. I did not. I missed out on that one. But yeah, we'll see how hometowns go. So I mean, we know Juliana makes it, so it's got to be between Dina and Litia. I think maybe Zoe makes it, but
yeah, we'll just have to see.
Might, but yeah, we will find out.
Yeah, and another thing that happened on the preview was, I think this must be like a couple episodes in the future, but Grant's dad is helping him pick out a ring and gives him advice, and they have touching moments together. So that'll be exciting to see.
Well, they have, right. That's during one of the finale. Isn't the finale like a 2-parter, or is it just one episode?
I don't know what they'll do this time, but
I imagine they'll
say the line over again.
Fall
Don't ask the
asleep.
question.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously that was like during finals, but that he's having that conversation with his dad, and then he runs into Joey and has a discussion with him, and then there's the clip where Jesse asks Granth that, hey, I've got both women. You need to decide what's going on.
And he says, I'm just not sure which one to send first.
Yeah. With that preview, it makes me think that it's Juliana and Litia, where Jesse's asking which girl to bring up.
Yes. So exciting times. We will see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, what unfolds next week at Hometowns.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. Thanks for joining us for another episode of A Fine Podcast.
Yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. Let us know what you think in the comments, and don't forget to check out our social media if you haven't, and if you liked this, then like and subscribe.
Please, and we're looking forward to reviewing Hometowns next week.
Yes.
The Bachelor. Woo!
Which girl will stay? Which girl will go?
When it's time to know, you'll know.
We will see then.
Okay, bye.
Ciao.